On the night of August 8, 2013, a young father of 4, Brandon Lawson, found himself stranded in the middle of nowhere. After running out of gas on a desolate stretch of highway in Bronte, Texas, the 26-year-old made a frantic 911 call that would ultimately mark the beginning of one of the most perplexing missing person cases of recent years. Little did Brandon know that his final phone call would become a haunting piece of evidence in a mystery that has yet to be solved. Brandon was driving home from a trip to visit his father when he realized his truck was running low on gas. At around 11:50 p.m., he pulled over on Highway 277, about 20 miles south of Bronte. He made the call to emergency services to report that he had run out of gas and needed help. But the conversation quickly turned bizarre. As the dispatcher answered, Brandon was already agitated. He explained he had run out of gas and was stranded on the side of the road. However, things began to take a strange turn. Brandon suddenly mentioned an altercation, saying that something had happened, but he didn't go into detail. His voice was shaky and filled with panic. He even said he had been bleeding, though it wasn't clear how or why. His distress only grew as he spoke of hearing people or voices in the distance, leading the dispatcher to ask if he was in immediate danger. What followed next was unsettling. In the midst of the call, Brandon's voice faded as if he was either retreating or perhaps running from something. The dispatcher tried to get more information, but the call ended abruptly. This left a chilling silence on the other end of the line. Desperate, the dispatcher tried calling him back, but there was no answer. What happened after that call is where the mystery truly begins. When law enforcement arrived at the scene, they found Brandon's truck abandoned by the roadside. It was unlocked, with his wallet and phone left inside. But there were no signs of any struggle, and no indication of what had happened to Brandon. His belongings were seemingly left behind in a hurry, adding to the confusion. A massive search operation was launched immediately after Brandon's disappearance. Family, friends, and law enforcement scoured the surrounding areas, hoping to find any trace of him. But despite extensive efforts, no signs of Brandon were found that night or in the following days. A few hours into the search, some locals reported seeing a man matching Brandon's description walking along the highway. But no one could confirm whether it was truly him. This sighting only added to the mystery, leaving investigators with more questions than answers. Brandon's brother, Kyle, would later speak about the 911 call and his conversation with Brandon that night. Kyle explained that Brandon had been in a rough state before the incident, mentioning that he had been dealing with personal issues. This added an emotional layer to the case, as family members wondered if Brandon had been struggling with his mental health or if he was involved in something far more sinister. Meanwhile, Brandon's girlfriend, who was speaking with him before his trip, revealed that Brandon had been acting odd in the days leading up to his disappearance. She said that he had mentioned being involved in an altercation, but she didn't know the specifics. This strange conversation suggested that Brandon's disappearance might not have been a simple case of running out of gas, but something far more complicated. What followed were months of searching, but still no answers. Law enforcement and volunteers combed through the desolate, rugged terrain in the area, hoping for any clue that would lead them to Brandon. But there was nothing. No body, no signs of foul play, and no physical evidence to explain what had happened. Investigators continued to struggle with this baffling case, and as the months wore on, the chances of finding Brandon alive seemed to dwindle. One of the most chilling aspects of the case was the 911 call itself. Though the details of what exactly transpired during that phone call remain unclear, there's a sense of urgency and fear in Brandon's voice. He spoke of hearing voices and mentioned that he was bleeding, but again, there was little information on who or what he was referring to. It's possible that Brandon was trying to escape from someone, or perhaps his distress was a result of a mental breakdown. But the eerie lack of clarity in the 911 call only made the situation more confusing. In the days following Brandon's disappearance, the investigation took another strange turn. Police found that Brandon's truck was the last known location before he vanished, but there were no signs of a struggle or anything that might indicate foul play. However, a few weeks later, a new piece of evidence surfaced. A search party discovered some of Brandon's clothing near a bridge about 2 miles from his truck. This raised new questions. Was Brandon attempting to walk away from the scene, or was something more sinister at play? Over the years, several theories have been proposed. Some believe that Brandon might have been disoriented or panicked after his phone call and wandered off into the wilderness. Others speculate that Brandon may have been trying to escape from a dangerous situation or someone who was threatening him. But without any concrete evidence, it's hard to say for sure what happened. Did he suffer an accident and wander away? Or was he the victim of foul play? Over the years, several theories have been proposed. Some believe that Brandon might have been disoriented or panicked after his phone call and wandered off into the wilderness. Others speculate that Brandon may have been trying to escape from a dangerous situation or someone who was threatening him. But without any concrete evidence, it's hard to say for sure what happened. Did he suffer an accident and wander away? Or was he the victim of foul play? Despite the investigation, the case remained cold, with no significant developments in the search for answers. Theories have ranged from Brandon suffering from a mental health crisis to a possible abduction by a stranger. But without a body or any clear evidence, the case continued to confound both law enforcement and the public. As time passed, Brandon's family held on to the hope that one day they would have answers. The mystery surrounding his disappearance is made all the more unsettling by the fact that it remains so unresolved. Every year, his family members continue to seek justice and closure, but each passing year only makes the mystery seem even more unsolvable. Brandon Lawson's disappearance is a tragic reminder of how quickly someone can vanish without a trace, leaving behind nothing but questions. What happened on that desolate highway on the night of August 8, 2013? Was Brandon's distress legitimate, or did something else happen that night? His fate remains unknown, and as of today, no one has been able to piece together the puzzle of his disappearance. The haunting question remains: did Brandon Lawson ever make it out of that night alive? Or was something far darker at play? Until more information surfaces, his case remains one of the most perplexing and chilling unsolved mysteries of recent times. Please don't forget to comment your thoughts on the case. Make sure to like and subscribe for more true crime stories.